Well, it's a little wet outside.
You think it'll rain?
It kind of hit out of nowhere today and it's windy and everything too. I was expecting to hear some thunder like they were talking about, but I haven't heard any.
I haven't either, but yeah, that rain came out of nowhere. All of a sudden it was here and it was raining cats and dogs.
No kidding. Yeah, I was pouring for quite a while.
I
Um,
think it's blown through, at least this wave of it has for now. I think tomorrow's supposed to be a windy day in general.
yeah, tomorrow could be an interesting one at work for sure. Driving
It's
those
hard to
big
believe
old box trucks.
oh, in the wind. Yeah, it's hard to believe all the snow's gone.
Yeah, all the snow that we got in the last couple of weeks and it's just
Yeah.
gone.
And as cold as it was and as frozen as everything was, I thought that would still take a while, but I think the ground is obviously still frozen. There's flooding everywhere. I drove by Franklin Park today and it looked like Franklin Park all of a sudden had about 10 ponds in it.
Yeah, and then it's gonna stay like that, I think, for a while. I don't know if we're gonna get much colder for the rest of the
I don't
winter.
know either.
I
Yeah, we'll
mean,
see.
pushing March, so who knows?
I'm sure we'll get a cold snap of some sort.
Yeah, but hockey season still rolling along here toward the end of February. Another big weekend for the Chiefs, picking up
Yeah,
four out of a possible six.
and 3 games and 3 nights.
Our third 3-3 of the season. The first one that we didn't sweep the entire
Yeah,
weekend, but
kind of got
it.
kind of got Chiefs fans in arms.
Yeah, we
Every,
got go we got
everybody,
goalie too.
everybody's everybody's critical right now because we expect them to win all the time.
Yeah, I know. And that's what happens when you have a losing team for the last 4 or 5 years. And now
Yeah,
you're getting this big taste of winning again. And now all of a sudden, those fans come out of the woodworks.
yeah.
It happens. But yeah, again, I'm just going to throw my opinion out there and just say that I'm having so much fun watching this team this year. And
Hmm.
it's a huge breath of fresh air compared to where we had been. And I mean, for the most part, I got nothing serious to complain about.
No, me either. Me either. I mean, we did not be expected to be in the position we're in when this season started. That's for sure. I know you and I did not.
No, what were what were you telling me a couple days ago? You kind of expected us to be this year where Tri-City is right
Hmm.
now.
Hmm.
I was thinking about that watching the game online on Saturday. I was like, that's kind of where I expected us to be too. First year with a new coach. I didn't expect, I figured it would be kind of a slower transition with the new coaching and everything
Hmm.
too, and kind of get us ready for next year. But with the 10 game winning streak that we went on earlier this year, and how hot we started the season, I think it was 8-2 in our first 10 games.
Hmm.
I mean, I think they just kind of took that and ran with it. And yeah, there's been little lulls here and there, but nothing too crazy or long term. I mean, I think our longest winning or losing streak is probably like 2 or 3 games,
Yeah,
maybe.
and that was
Um,
early in the year, I think.
yeah. And so, yeah, for the most part, I got nothing serious to complain about. And then when you look at the 3-3 weekend and see how many goals we scored, again, it's just like you can't complain about it. Um, what a barn burner on Friday in Spokane.
Holy cow! I did not
Um,
expect that.
it's the third time playing Tri-City in the last week in 7 days, and
Hmm.
kind of getting used to playing these guys. We might have to play them in the first round of the playoffs. So
Yeah.
obviously, it's nice to be able to score as many goals as we did against them, and I think that that's something that they can kind of build on. But they got to clean up the defensive zone, and they're shutting down a little bit. I feel like there
Hmm.
was, first period, pretty much all Chiefs dominated, kicked Lucas Mateka out of the game after one period, outshot Tri City 14-6 in the first.
And that never happens getting Mateka out of a game, especially that early.
Yeah, no kidding. And yeah, I mean 5-0 first period. Start the scoring with Shea Van Olmo a minute into the game. That first line just continues to stay hot. Berkeley Cat with the assist on that extends his point streak. I think at that point it was like 13 or 14 games or something like that.
Hmm.
Um, so a minute into the game, that's still intact. Second goal of the game, Mathis Preston's 18th of the year. One of the best shots I've seen all season.
Hmm.
Like
I agree with that.
Oh my God. I just stood in awe watching that. From that tight angle right there, a great drop pass by Marty. And he just kind of walked in and just sniped it. And it just perfectly
Yeah,
right in that corner right there. Just a perfect shot. That's a goal scorer's goal. And that's not some that's kind of the only kind of like straight shot that you're gonna have to beat Mateka too.
exactly.
And Preston's shot is already NHL caliber in my opinion.
Hmm. Hmm.
It's pretty ridiculous. And so yeah, it's good to see him, continuing to score after coming back from injury. Like I kind of predicted how, once he gets that one goal, it's going to start
Hmm.
coming in waves, and it sure as shit has. That wouldn't be his only goal of the period, by the way, but there
Yeah.
were two more goals before that from the Chiefs. Uh, Andrew Crystal scored his 40th goal of the season. Berkeley Catton, about 5 minutes later, picks up his 32nd goal of the season. That first line just continues to score, and they continue to dominate the league.
Hmm.
Andrew Crystal leading the entire WHL in points. Shea Van Olm leading the entire WHL in goal scoring. I think he's after this weekend, he's up to 48 now.
Hmm.
Just unreal stuff. And I think Catton's like third in scoring or pushing Gavin McKenna for second in scoring right now,
Hmm.
too, which is just bonkers.
Yeah,
Um,
especially considering as many games as he missed
yeah,
with World
exactly.
Juniors. Yeah,
Yeah. And, granted, McKenna was at World Juniors too,
true.
but it's still it's impressive stuff because often Catton had a little bit of a slow start to the year
He
coming
did.
back from training camp and trying to you know fit into his role as the leader and the captain of the team and everything too, and teams were putting so much pressure on him at the start of the year. And then, once him and Ulmer started kind of clicking, I feel like that kind of turned around. And then
Hmm.
once we picked up Andrew Crystal, it really just took off.
Hmm.
And shameless plug here, but I think that our podcast helped him out a ton. Coming on. I mean, because
He's
he's
been
just
hot
been on an
since then.
absolute tear since coming on the show. So,
That's true.
um,
So,
so
any of you other
yeah,
Chiefs want to be on? Let us know. We'll boost your scoring productivity.
no kidding. Just crazy impressive stuff. But and then Mathis Preston, 30 seconds left in the first period, picks up his 19th goal of the season right off the face-off. A nice little win from Owen Martin, just tapped it over and he ripped it past Mateka. So that would be what kicked Mateka out of the game.
And
I
what
got
did I tell you that shot reminded me of?
oh my God, I can't remember.
The way he just kind of pushes it and slings it instead of
I
actually
can't.
slapping. That reminds me of Kucherov,
That's right. That's who it
because
was.
that's how Cooch passes on the power play. He just kind of pushes it, the puck. He doesn't hit at the puck. That's exactly what it reminded me of.
Well, and the thing that's so impressive about it is like they can do that and make it look so like there's nothing on it and then still just come off the stick so quick.
Yeah.
I mean, it's ridiculous. Hold on, I got to get my cat out of here because she's going to start playing with my cords and I can't
Uh
have
oh.
her. Oh, now she's behind my desk. All right, whatever. But yeah, I mean, really hot start to the first period, kind of going into the intermission. I had said to you and a couple other people around, it's like, guys, you got two more games to play this weekend. Save
Mm-hmm.
some of these goals. I mean, 5-0 in the first is great, obviously. Like I'm not complaining about the goal scoring production, but you got another game against these guys down in their barn tomorrow, and then Portland the next day. It's like you got to save some of these goals, and I guess I don't really have to worry about saying that with this top line right now, but.
Right.
Um, 15 seconds into the second period, it kind of came crashing back on us a little bit. Former Chief Jake Goodell picks up his 14th goal of the season, 15 seconds into the second period. So yeah, still 5-1 game, whatever. A couple minutes later on the shorthanded goal from Owen Martin. Really nice,
Beautiful.
nice hustle play. A great pass from God, who made that? Was it Sage? I think made that pass.
Mm-hmm. I think so.
Um, and yeah, just a great pass, and he was able to barely corral the puck before it went behind the net and sniped it far side on the backup goalie Ryan Grout for Tri-City. So it's 6-1 at that point. And then Cash Cook and Savon Vert for Tri-City score a couple of goals about 5 minutes apart. So at that point, it's 6-3. What are you thinking around that time? Like
Um,
the first 10 minutes of the second period with the defensive collapse that we kind of had and everything too. Like what are you thinking going into that?
we weren't good that period for sure. There was just too many defensive breakdowns. Um, it, Tri Cities controlled that. I told you at that first intermission that I thought Tri Cities would come out pushing hard, but I didn't expect them to be physical because they were down five. I didn't feel like they had to try to change the tone of the game by being more physical, and they didn't. They just came out and just outskated us basically, and we made mistakes and helped them along as well.
Yeah.
It was a vast contrast to the first period for sure. It's like two different teams
Yeah, it
on,
definitely
on both
was.
on both sides. I feel like us and Tri Cities just changed roles for that period.
For sure. And like you said, Tri-City just came out and they just played their game. They didn't really adjust anything necessarily. I feel like they just played their
No,
game and we just fell apart completely on the back end. I mean,
yeah,
a lot of unnecessary turnovers in our own zone that, cost us a couple of goals. Taking some unnecessary penalties also didn't help.
no. But
But
their power play didn't get them back in the game. Just their hustle did.
yeah, exactly. And but yeah, I mean, that's just stuff that you can't do, regardless of who you're playing. Even if it's a 5-0 game in the first period, I mean, I've seen teams come back from that before. It's
No,
not impossible.
no, we've done it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I think back to that game in 2012 against Seattle. We were down 6-2 going into the third period,
yeah,
and they scored another one early, and they went up, or it was 5-2 going to the third, and they scored another one early, and then early in the third period, it's 6-2 Seattle. 13 minutes to go in the game, we scored six, make it 6-3, and then all of a sudden it's tied and we won in a shootout.
yeah,
I mean, yeah, it doesn't matter who you're playing or how many goals you're up by. Like, you got to play a full 60, and
yeah.
especially this time of year going into the playoffs,
Especially after what is arguably your best period of the season in the first period.
without a doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thankfully, though, a lot of Tri City scoring in the second period. The Chiefs also picked up 3 goals in the second period. Owen Martin gets his second of the game on the power play, his 10th of the season. Charlie Ellick answers for Tri-City about 20 seconds later, and I'm pretty sure that was the one that ended Dawson Cowan's night too.
Hmm.
Another shaky performance from him.
It was a little bit. I
Uh,
don't know what was going on.
yeah, like obviously we're not trying to speculate anything here at all, but it's like he's just like off to me the last, 2 weeks or so.
Hmm.
Like he hasn't looked the same. Like he's still made a couple of huge saves here and there, but it's like,
He makes the big saves, but he lets a lot of goals in that I think he would probably like to have back.
yeah, without a doubt. But so at that point it's 7-4, and Berkeley Catton gets another goal, insurance goal from Andrew Crystal and Shea Van Olm about a minute and a half after Ellick's goal. So it's 8-4 at that point. And then so 8-4 going into the second intermission after being up 5-0 after the first. Definitely not the type of game that I was expecting between these two teams, especially being in
No.
the third game that we've played in the last week against them.
Yeah.
But Tri-City came out with another solid first 10 minutes of the third period and picked up another 2 goals. Again, bad turnovers by the Chiefs, leading
Hmm.
to some unnecessary chances for Tri-Cities, including a shorthanded goal halfway through the third period. So at one, at this point, Tri-Cities is within 2 goals. It's 8-6.
Hmm.
And I'm thinking, like, Jesus, are we really going to collapse and lose this
What's
game?
what's the worst lead in hockey?
It's a well, 3-goal lead.
Well, yeah, but
That's what they say,
they
anyways.
already cut it to two.
Yeah. Rasmus Ekstrom gets his 12th goal of the season or 21st goal of the season. I'm a little dyslexic today.
That's all right.
Um, with a nice tip of a Braden Crampton shot. About 5 minutes left in the third period, and that would cap the scoring. The Chiefs won 9-6. So really, really good first period, really, really bad second period, and first 10 minutes or so of the third period, and then kind of started to buckle down defensively a little bit with Carter Essler coming into the game toward the end of the second period. I think he, stood tall and
Hmm.
played well in the, half the game that he played. Um, the top line stays hot, but it's like you got to clean up these defensive zone turnovers and the bad penalties. And it doesn't matter who you're playing, especially in the playoffs like that. If you're going to take those stupid penalties like that, it's going to bite you in the ass.
Yeah.
So that's something that I think that they really got to focus on cleaning up in the next month. But I mean, the important thing is we came out with 2 points
Hmm.
going into the next night in Tri Cities, the back half of the home and home. Fourth time we played them in 8 days. Just a crazy amount of time, short
Yeah.
amount of time to be playing that many games against one team.
It's surprising that the games haven't been chippier.
Yeah, a little bit me too. I thought that first game up in Spokane on Friday was pretty chippy once Tri-City started getting back into it a little bit,
Hmm.
but nothing really came of it. But then, so going into the next night, we were kind of expecting the same starting goalie matchup as we saw
Hmm.
the night before with Cowan and Mateka both getting pulled.
Hmm.
Especially with Cowan when he has a bad performance. I feel like that he and the coach both like him to go back out very next game and kind of try to get his game back and bounce back a little bit. And Tri-City obviously doing the same with Mateka. So Mateka not on his game in Spokane on Friday, very much so on his game Saturday in Tri-City.
He was back.
Um, Tri-City got on the board first in the first period. Cruz Pavio. Berkeley Catton answers to make it a 1-1 game 3 minutes into the second period. So, tied at one halfway through the game. Jake Sloan scores a goal on just an unfortunate bounce with
Hmm.
Will McIsaac having control of the puck in the defensive zone and trying to make the breakout pass and his stick just snaps. It's nothing
Yeah.
you that's just bad luck and it happens. But Tri-City capitalized on that one, and then Terrell Goldsmith with a goal that again a goal that I think Cowan wants back.
Hmm.
Not really a good goal to be giving up, especially with the caliber of goalie that he is. But uh, just a simple shot, not really much traffic, and just beat him clean. And sometimes that just happens. So it's 3-1. Chiefs do pick up another goal on the power play with Owen Martin getting his 11th of the season late in the second period. So we're only down one going into the third period, and I felt like for the most part, the third period was the most lopsided period in our favor, but that's when
Hmm.
Mateka stood tall
Yeah,
and
I agree.
he shut us down. I mean, he made 32 saves and Chiefs outshot him 13-4 in the third period as well. So, um, yeah, if it wasn't for Mateka, I think we could have gotten back into that game a lot easier
Hmm.
and definitely scored some more goals, especially with, our top line being so hot right now. But sometimes that's just how it is. You run into a hot goalie, and that's being able to put five up on him the night before, I think was huge. But can't do that 2 nights in a row. Playing the same team back to back doesn't matter who it is. It's hard to win both of those games.
Yeah, exactly. And he's not going to play shaky 2 games in a row.
Hmm. And I'll be honest, I think Dawson Cowan played a pretty good game
He
down
did play
there.
good. He did play good on Saturday.
Just that one little leaker goal that he should want. I'm sure he wants to have back, but
Oh yeah.
uh, other than that, I think he played a good game, and then Tri City capped it with an empty netter to make it a 4-2 final. So second half of the home and home, Chiefs lose. I think it's their first regulation loss in quite a while too.
Hmm.
I don't think we've lost a regulation game in a long time.
It had been since the
I'm
Medicine
trying.
Hat game. I think.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I think that was
Yeah,
it.
that was quite a while ago. But yeah, so 4 o'clock afternoon start on Sunday down in Portland. What's your mindset going into this game? Like, how did you think that they were going to come out and play based
I
off
told
of the performance the night before?
because you watched the game up here on Saturday, and I told you I felt like we were going to go down there, and they were not going to have a very happy bus ride from Tri Cities to Portland, and they were going to come out strong because they didn't like the way they performed, or didn't like the result, I should say, from Saturday's game.
Yeah,
And I think they were still a little sour from their kind of breakdowns on Friday, even though they got the win as well. I told you I thought they were going to come out hard and strong, and they did.
yeah,
I
they
was
sure did.
I was very happy to see that.
Yeah. Uh,
I feel like they were very well prepared for the Portland game for sure.
oh, they were in Portland also playing their third game in 3 days as well, but they had, they played the first game of their weekend on Friday in Wenatchee, and then they had back-to-back home games. So
Right.
they didn't have the travel that we had on top of it. But obviously, that's no excuse when you're playing in the WHL. And another thing that I want to say is one thing that I've really noticed lately with these guys, we are very, very quick to start off the game. We score early a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Um, uh, you know, a minute into the game on Friday, Owen Martin scores his 12th goal this season, 24 seconds into the game against
Mm-hmm.
Portland here. So a great start.
Hmm.
Owen Martin has been playing just lights out lately too.
Yeah, he played good all 3 games.
I think he's got to be my pick for player of the week
Hmm.
for the Chiefs. In my opinion, I think he's had
Hmm.
one of the best weeks that he's had in his junior
Yeah,
career so far.
no, I agree.
Um, and Mathis Preston too. I really was a little bit skeptical at first when they moved Armstrong off of that third line when Presto came back from his
Hmm.
injury. But I really like Martin and Preston together too. Preston and Harrington on that line right there is just so good. And
Hmm.
I think Armstrong fits in on that second line with Rass and Sarkey too.
No, I do too. Little more grit.
A little bit more grit, still some speed,
Hmm.
and just good back checking pressure from everybody. I think Sarkinov had a really good weekend too. Now
He
that we're
did.
talking about it, he had that opportunity in Tri City on in the third period on Friday. The Chiefs did tie the game at one point,
Hmm.
but it was waved off for a high stick. Sarkey had a really nice tip of a shot from Shetler at the point, just barely above the crossbar, was called a goal on the ice and reviewed, and then taken back, unfortunately. But um, it is what it is. I think he had one of the best forechecks of anybody on the team this
Hmm.
weekend. Just straight up hustle, drawing lots of penalties by moving his feet, just being a physical presence out there.
Yeah, well, I told you last week. He's been my favorite Chief to watch the last couple of weeks. Just watching him and watching his game develop, and I just think he goes out there and does what he's asked to do, and no questions asked, and he just plays hard.
Yeah. Yeah, he's definitely one of those players that's a really key guy to have on a team making a playoff run.
And he
He,
always seems to make a skilled play and make the correct play. I don't
exactly.
I don't see him making mistakes out there very often.
And early in the season, he's trying to get used to the North American style game and everything. And like he was shooting the puck too much, I think.
Yes, yeah.
And once he kind of got used to the league and kind of got his understanding English a little bit better and
Hmm.
everything too, I'm sure that helps a ton. But he's really just become a great all around player. And like you said, he doesn't do any of the unnecessary stupid plays. He just does the right thing.
Hmm.
And I think that's again, like I said, that's a key guy to have on a team making a playoff run.
Yeah,
Really,
oh,
really
and
beneficial.
he's put
200-foot
out
player.
exactly, and he's put out there in any situation, whether it's penalty kill, whether it's power play, whether it's end of the game and you're behind and you need to try to attack and get to the net and get something dirty. He's put out
Yeah.
there in every situation too. That tells you the confidence the coaching staff has in him as well.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, they put him out as the extra attacker. Why not? Big
But
body in front too, and he's good at maneuvering in those tight spaces in there as
yeah,
well.
yeah, for as big as he is. Like I said, he's very soft and agile for a big guy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But yeah, so we're talking about Owen Martin's goal 20 seconds into the first period in Portland. Shea Van Olm picks up his 46th goal this season. So he had scored, or at least we thought he scored in Tri City to get his 46th night before it was actually given to Owen Martin. So
Hmm.
Martin did end up getting a goal in Tri City last night as well, or the other night. Shea Van Olm does get his 46th goal of the season, 3 minutes into the first period against Portland. Nice pass from Crampton to find him wide open in the slot and
Yep.
a good little forehand backhand move. Andrew Crystal on the power play with a nice little snipe. It's nice to see him shooting the puck.
Yeah, I agree.
Um, I
Great
feel like,
great playmaker and great passer, and just the head for the game. But yeah, I love seeing that guy shoot.
yeah, he's got a wicked shot too. And, he's putting up 41 goals on the year so far, or
Yeah,
42, I guess, because I think he had two last night. But
yeah.
um, yeah, so the Chiefs power play, number one power play in the league, still getting it done. Um, Carter Essler did get the started net in that game as well. We were kind of wondering, with him, those three games this weekend. I think if Cowan had had a good performance on Friday, they would have played Ezzy against Try and then put
Me too.
Cowan against Sunday against Portland. But I think throwing Essler into this game on Sunday and him playing as well as he did, I think that's going to be a huge confidence booster for him
Hmm. Hmm.
because I think that's his best game that he's played all year,
Yeah, that was
without a
very good.
doubt.
It was very
He
good.
he made some huge clutch saves when he needed to, and the goals he gave up, they're not his fault.
Yeah,
He's gonna be a good goalie in the future.
I agree. I'm glad we
Um,
have him.
but Portland scores their first goal of the game in the early parts of the second period on the power play. Chiefs took a couple of pretty unnecessary penalties there about halfway through the second period. So I was actually just leaving or just getting home,
Hmm.
and I didn't. I turned it back on when I got back up to my apartment and saw that we were on a 5-on-3, and then I saw Sage take that other penalty. I think
Yeah.
that one was kind of a bad hit, not really necessary. And obviously, when you're already two men down, that's not something that you should have happen. But
Right.
having three of our four top defensemen in
Defenseman.
the box,
Yeah.
like, not good, not good.
No.
But they Portland only ended up scoring one goal on it. Uh, Josh Zagreski. So it's 3-1 Chiefs halfway through the second period. Caden Allen scoring his first Western Hockey
Yeah.
League
That was
goal.
nice to see.
Um, watching back that whole play, he made that play to keep the puck in at the line and kind of battled it down, and it bounced back out to Shetler, and Allen came up the wall right to a spot, called for the one timer, and honestly it was a pretty simple shot, and it just ended up kind of ramping off of the goalie's stick and right over into
Hmm.
the shoulder into the net for his first career WHL goal. Ended up being the game-winning goal at the end of the night as well from Shetler and Crystal. So congrats to Allen. That's huge. I think that's the first of a lot that he's going to score for us.
Yeah, me too.
Um, kid's got a lot of potential. And then once again, the Chiefs kind of a little bit too relaxed on the power play and turning it over and giving up a shorthanded goal about a minute and a half after Caden Allen's goal. So kind of erased that momentum from the Allen goal a little bit. And then Portland actually ended up scoring another goal 2.5 minutes later to cut it to 4-3. So at this point, I'm terrified that we're going to have another situation like we did in the second period on Friday.
Hmm.
And going into the locker room only up by one after being up 3-0 in the first period against a good Portland team.
Yes.
They're not the Portlands of the last 10 years, but they're still a very, very good team.
Hmm.
And I'm got to be honest, I was concerned going into the third
Oh, I
period.
was too. Yeah.
Taking some unnecessary penalties once again. Chiefs had 7 penalties called against them as opposed to 3 for Portland
Yeah.
yesterday as well. So it's just minor stick infractions and these cross checks from behind. Like you can't be doing that kind of stuff when you're this late in the season, chasing Everett for the top spot in the division,
Hmm.
and it's just something that's not going to pan out. But that being said, the Chiefs came out of the locker room. About the first 10 minutes was pretty back and forth. I think,
Hmm.
both teams exchanging chances. Shea Van Olm breaks through 11 minutes into the period, first 47th goal of the season, assisted by Catton and Crystal. And then nice to see them continue that a minute later on the power play. Andrew Crystal getting his second of the
Hmm.
game, 42nd of the year. And then 3 minutes later, Owen Martin picks up his second goal of the game. Shorthanded, it was the empty netter because Portland ended up getting a power play with about 5 minutes left.
With a lot of time left, they pulled the goalie.
And just kind of guided it into the empty net. So yeah, I liked that game a hell of a lot better than I liked the second and third period on Friday.
Yeah, me
And
too.
overall, I think that was the best game of the weekend for us. I think had a little bit of a collapse in the second period, but they showed that they had that ability to go into the locker room and come back out in the third period with a fresh slate and a fresh kind of outlook on things. And they came out and played their game and they scored 3 goals and won the game. So,
Yeah.
and another thing, when was the last time we won a season series against Portland?
I don't remember. I don't remember. I don't know if we ever, I mean, I'm sure we have, but not that I can remember.
Because I mean, even in the 1920s or the 18-19 season, we played them in the first round. We had home ice. I still think they won the season series that year.
Yeah, I do too.
So yeah, the Chiefs finally getting the season series win 4-2 over Portland. So
Yeah.
I think that's more of a win for the fans as opposed to the players. But I don't know. A great game from Carter Wrestler. Yeah, I think that's the kind of his best game as a Chief so far, picking up
Hmm.
41 saves, 3 goals
Yeah, he had
against.
a
I
lot of
mean, I
saves.
mean he played great, and a lot of the saves that he made were big saves too. He
Yeah.
made some
No.
pretty clutch saves.
Yeah, no, he played very, very well. That's a lot of saves for him.
And then Shea Van Olm, 2 goals, 2 assists. Berkeley Catton, 3 assists. Andrew Crystal, 2 goals, 2 assists. Caden Allen picking up his first career goal. Wilmot Isaac with an apple. Preston with an apple. So some good stuff from these guys on Sunday. And with Everett not playing on Sunday, we gained 2 points in the chase to them. We're back 7 right now, and I'm just really wishing that we would have picked up that win on Saturday in Tri City with Everett
Yeah, me
losing to
too.
Seattle.
Me too. Yeah. Thanks, Seattle, for taking care of business there. They stay hot.
Yeah, Seattle's they really want that last playoff spot. They're 2 up on Wenatchee right now and 5 up on Kamloops. So I'm thinking that, as of right now, it's looking like unless Wenatchee or Kamloops gets hot, it's looking like it's going to be the T-Birds getting that eighth and final spot. Be playing Everett the first round. That'd be an interesting matchup,
Which
actually.
I certainly, yeah, would be good for the people fans over there. I certainly didn't see that before Christmas. Seattle making the playoffs.
I didn't either. I would have thought Kamloops or Wenatchee being with Don Knockbar and
Yeah,
everything too. I mean, they got I guess with Wenatchee that once they kind of sold the rest of their players and stuff, you
they did.
kind of take them out of the equation a little bit, but they're still hanging in there. I mean, they're only 2 points
Yeah,
back, so anything could happen with uh 12, 11, 10 games left in the regular season.
yeah. We'll see what happens. But no, Seattle stays hot for sure.
So overall, after watching all 3 games this weekend, final thoughts. Like what did you like? What did you hate?
I like the goal scoring, obviously, the goal output. I like the energy when we've played some shaky hockey at different times. I like the energy coming out the next period or following up the next game, things too. But I don't like seeing all the mistakes and the lapses that are happening defensively. Just like you said, that game on Friday night, just mistakes and penalties and just at poor times. I saw somebody post something today online in the Chiefs group, something about when that top line is out there, they can help make up for a lot of mistakes made by the rest of the team out there. And sometimes those other lines don't quite have the ability to do that. So those mistakes are magnified. I don't necessarily disagree with that, though I don't fully agree with it either, too. But I think there might be something to be said for that. Um, they almost like they can take their foot off the gas a little bit with those guys out there because Catton and Crystal and Shea are going to make up for it a little bit too, and the other guys aren't able to do that. I don't know. I just see some things defensively, and some of it's from some of the older defensemen as well too. It's not even the young guys making some of these mistakes. I don't see guys like Shetler or Allen making mistakes out there and turning things over or drawing poor penalties at bad times or anything too. And I'm not blaming anybody, but it just it's just bad timing, I guess, too. And that kind of stuff's got to be cleaned up because if you're in a close playoff game, you're not going to necessarily have that 3-goal, 4-goal lead and then give up a couple of goals based on something like that. It's going to end up back of your net and you're going to lose the game. So that's what I find a little concerning. But I kind of joked with you after we got Crystal in the trade, too. I said, well, maybe we're not worried about it, shoring up our defense because you and I had talked about maybe trying to find an older defenseman before the trade deadline and stuff. Maybe we're not going to do that. Maybe we're just going to go out there and we're just going to outscore your ass.
Oh, look at the goals that we've scored since that trade. I mean,
I know.
kind of not inaccurate.
I saw something the other day that in like the last 16 games or something like that, that top line has something like 83 points or something
Yeah,
ridiculous.
yeah.
Um,
I don't.
so yeah, so maybe we're just gonna outscore you. It's kind of like the Loyola Marymount, I think it was too, way back in the day when they would just try to run and gun is what it was, and they just tried to outscore you. They tried to score 120 points in a college basketball game, just outscore you. They didn't care about playing defense. They're just going to score more than you.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. It's a little concerning at times, but I know they're capable of cracking down too because we see it when they have to do it, they're able to do it. I'd just like to see it for a full 60. It's been a long time since I've seen a 60-minute game from the team, and I understand they're young and they're still learning, and you can't. The other team's got to play hard too. I told you I watched an interview with John Cooper the other day in the Four Nations tournament, and he was talking about getting across to even the guys, and we're talking NHL guys that are the best of the best. And he was talking about, you got to go out there and understand that you're not going to win every shift. Your goal and your intentions are to win every shift, but sometimes just coming out on that shift at a tie is worth it, just as long as you don't lose it too. I feel like, our team wins a lot of shifts. I feel like there's a handful of ties, and I feel like we lose a lot of shifts too. And I think we got to cut down on that.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. I think that's kind of the big thing is you know, going out there and playing a full 60 is still an issue. I feel like, 2 weeks ago we were talking on the show about how we kind of come out slow and then we kind of
Mm-hmm.
casually pick back up as the game goes on. I feel like it's been reversed the last week and a half. I feel like we
Yeah,
come out really hot and then we collapse and it looks like the Chiefs of old. And I don't want to say it's necessarily concerning, but I feel like they just need to find that equal balance where they can play that way consistently throughout the entire game as opposed to just on, one half.
maybe that's part of the plan. Like you said, 2 weeks ago, we were coming from behind all the time. Now we're starting strong and kind of trailing off a little bit. Maybe the emphasis has been on starting stronger, and they're able to do that. And then it's a natural progression to let your foot off the gas a little bit too. Now they know how to do both. Now they got, like you said, find that happy medium, find that mix, and just be more consistent. So maybe this is not a bad thing to see them start hot. They're learning how to do that, which is what they needed to do, 2 weeks ago. So maybe they'll find this balance going into the playoffs.
Well, and we saw a little bit of a preview of that with, first period yesterday against Portland. Great start, kind of a lapse in the second period, and a great third
Good
period again.
finish. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I feel like it might all start coming together.
Yeah.
And again, I feel like as the year went on, they've just continued to slowly get better and better,
Mm-hmm.
overall in all aspects. And yeah, I think we saw kind of both sides of the team, and I could see it kind of starting to come together now. So,
You
uh,
don't get to be a second best team in the WHL and number one in power rankings and all these things too without getting better.
exactly.
And we're critical as fans because they started so well and they're having such a good season compared to the last couple. We're gonna nitpick a little bit here and there too, but I'm very, very impressed with this team.
Oh, I am too. I am too. And it's so nice watching good hockey.
Yeah.
It's so good watching. Well, and I should emphasize it's so good watching good hockey from the Chiefs. I
Yes.
mean, the last couple seasons, I loved watching the good teams, Everett's and Seattle's and Portland's coming into
When we played
town.
them.
That
Yeah.
that just watching good hockey, even if
Mm-hmm.
the Chiefs weren't going to be competitive. But man, when it's your team that's competitive and they're
Oh
playing
yeah.
great, it's so much more exciting as a
Yeah.
fan of the game in general.
Mm-hmm.
It's so much more exciting and so much more fun to be at.
Yeah, I agree.
And we got three home games to look forward to this week: Wednesday against Vancouver, and then Friday against Wenatchee, and Saturday against Seattle. So I think those are three winnable games.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Wenatchee plays us tough here at home.
They seem
Uh,
to.
Seattle's been on a tear lately, so I think the games next weekend could be competitive.
Mm-hmm.
I think that they need to go into it the mindset that it's a playoff game
Mm-hmm.
and they're gonna need to come out with the 2 points. And because you don't want to be losing any games, but you don't want to be losing to games from the eighth and ninth seeds in the standings.
Yeah. No,
So so yeah, I think a couple of big games this week.
I feel like the coaching staff and the leaders on this team will let everybody know that going into these games. I expect some good outcomes.
I do too. And especially after kind of the 3-3, be able to get a week off, or not a week, I guess they play Wednesday, but get 2 or 3 days off and
Yeah.
be able to relax and then pick back up in practice. I think they'll come out ready to go Wednesday against Vancouver. I expect that to be a pretty good performance. And then yeah, obviously carrying it into the weekend. Wenatchee is always a battle when they're in Spokane for whatever reason. So
I think they do it for Donnie Knock.
it's true. All right. We took questions and comments on the fan page today. Got quite
Nice.
quite a few responses. Mainly just some questions for us to answer, kind of give our opinions on. Maybe it's some stuff that we've already kind of talked about, and there's a couple of other things that are just related to the team, but nothing, the current news or current events or anything too. But um, so we got our buddy Par Extra asking us what brand of beer we were drinking on Saturday night because you told him we were having beers.
I did.
You want to let
But
him know what we were drinking?
Pacifico all the way. Now that we discovered they have that in the bar area there.
Yeah, at the arena.
And what did we find to go with it?
You went searching and found some salt for
I
it
found
too.
some salt to put in there and some. We had little lime slices in there.
Some good
So,
stuff.
so thanks to Jen for buying us both the beer. That was nice.
Shout out. And then Par asked us another question, something that I think would be kind of fun for us to do. Um, what's our guess, like the results of every first round in the WHL if the playoffs had started today?
Oh wow.
So looking at the standings right now, we'll just do the West for
Okay.
now. Um, so right now, if playoffs started today, first round would be Everett and Seattle.
Hmm.
I think that would be a tighter series than a lot of people think.
I'm going to say Everett in 6.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, I think Scott Ratzlaff with how hot he's playing right now, that could easily go 6 or
Yeah.
7 games.
Yeah.
And I think they've shown that they can beat Everett, and
Hmm.
Everett has shown a little bit of lapses in their game too, which is, led us to being able to kind of slowly start to inch up on them in the standings too.
Yeah.
And Seattle still got some good goal scoring ability too, even after the trades that they made this year. I could definitely see that going 6 or 7. I would say Everett and 6 as well.
Yeah.
Second seed Victoria would play seventh seed Vancouver. I honestly, I know you say you don't want to play Vancouver. I think Victoria walks all over Vancouver.
Really.
I think Victoria is really, really good not only on
They
paper, but
are.
they've really kind of taken off. Vancouver's kind of lately been,
Last couple of games they've lost. Yeah.
the last 10, they're 5-4, 1-0. Um, I think the only really bright side of Vancouver's game as opposed to some of the other, middle of the pack teams is their power play is really good. They have a 26% power play. I think
Hmm.
that's like fifth or sixth in the league. But they lately, I mean, they just lost to Kelowna. Kelowna was on their 15-game losing streak, and Kelowna came, beat them the other night up
Right.
in Vancouver as well. So Vancouver is another one of those teams that I feel like is really hot and cold this
Hmm.
year.
Hmm.
I honestly think Vancouver, maybe they pick up a game, but I think Victoria walks all over them 4 games to 1.
I say that series could go either way in 6.
Third seed Spokane Chiefs versus sixth seed Tri City Americans. What do you think?
Spokane in 5.
In 5?
Yeah.
Why do you say that though? Like, why 5? Based off of the season series that we've had with them this year so far.
Wipes it out, in my opinion. I think the Chiefs are the better team on paper and on the ice. I think the coaching staff and the leaders will have them ready to go for the playoffs after getting there last year in the early exit. I think Tri Cities, again, like we talked about a little bit last week and a little bit today too, overachieving a little bit this year compared to where I think that they feel like they should be. And I feel like they will surprise themselves a little bit just by getting in and getting there too. And then I just expect the Chiefs to just roll.
I hope you're right. I really do. I see Mateka stealing a game or two.
Well, yeah, and he could steal a game. I'm not saying that. If you don't have Mateka, we could sweep them. I just feel like
Yeah.
the Chiefs are that much better.
Oh, I
I'm not.
agree.
I'm not saying that the games are all going to be blowouts, so they're all going to be barn burns. I just think we win 4 of the 5.
Okay. Yeah. I say 4-2. I think Mateka would steal a game or two. But I do think the Chiefs would inevitably win that series just based off of our offensive production and
Yeah.
and our coaching and goaltending abilities and everything. Just a little bit more complete of a team.
Mm-hmm.
And then the fourth and fifth seed, this would be a great series, I think, because I think they've had a split season series this year. Portland and Prince George.
Ooh,
I think
yeah.
that'd be a very, very good series. So there's 2 points separating Vancouver, Tri-City, and Portland. So the Chiefs are likely to play any one of those three teams unless we end up catching Everett.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Portland and Prince George, what do we think? I mean, I think it's pretty right down the middle.
It, it it is.
That's one that I think could go 7.
Yeah, it could. It could. And I could see either team getting hot, whether it's goaltending or scoring, and making it pretty easy too. I don't know it, but it could be one of those that's back and forth, and they just trade games until they've played 7 of them. I don't know. My gut wants to tell me I think Prince George takes it, but I don't know.
I feel like PG could take it just based off of goaltending alone.
Mm-hmm.
Josh Ravensbergen, and they have Cooper Michael as their other goalie as
Backup, yeah,
well. Um, and they have some good offensive talent too, but I think that's a series that could go 7. It could go either way. I don't even have a pick for that one.
yeah. I'd actually look forward to watching those games.
Yeah, no kidding. Hold on a second here. Okay, so another next question. I don't actually know the answer to this. Like I know a little bit. what is the history behind our goal song?
I have no clue.
So the only thing that I know is that it's like some like Italian folk song.
Mm-hmm.
It's like an Italian tarantella or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I that's all I know it is because you watch NHL games and you hear a different version of it
Mm-hmm.
playing on in the speaker in the arena and stuff. I know it's like Italian folk dance type thing. That's pretty much the extent of my knowledge of it. I don't know how it ended up being kind of our goal song. Has that always been our goal song since,
As far as I remember, yeah,
back in the day even?
yeah,
Yeah, I don't know. I actually want to know. I'm a little bit curious about that now, so I might have to try to figure that out.
yeah. I'm not sure.
Let's see.
You knew more than
How
I did.
how would you improve our defensive play? Like how much of our it says how much of our squishiness do you think is related to our style of play?
I think the style is fine. I just think there's just some teenage boys making some kind of poor choices out there at times too. And I don't know if I don't want to say it's panic because I don't think it is. I feel like they're mentally prepared, um, and understand the system well too, because we can do it most of the time. I, I'm not sure. I would just like to see a little more. I don't know how to put it exactly. A little more.
Consistency?
Well, that for sure. Sometimes just get the puck out. Sometimes it's not calling for a cross ice pass in your own zone to break it out of the zone up the boards, which works 99% of the time, or to hit a guy flashing in the middle works too. Not necessarily a cross ice pass where somebody can step in the middle defensively and pick it off or get a stick on it and have it going back the other way. I feel like sometimes we'd go a little too much cross ice trying to get out of our zone.
Yeah, I agree. They need to do a little bit more north south instead of
Yeah.
east west for
Yeah.
sure. I would like to see that. I don't think our defense itself is a problem. I think, our again our style of play defensively is fine. Like we're pretty good at you know staying back and getting the puck off of the guy's stick and
Mm-hmm.
everything too as they're skating into the zone. I just think the main issue with our defensemen that I have is their inability to occasionally complete a pass
Mm-hmm.
and ends up, being turned over to the other team and they come down and score. I think if they can control that first breakout pass and then get a guy going with speed and, not lose the puck or, you know, pass it into the skates or whatever, I think that would make a huge difference in our turnovers.
Yeah.
Because I think that's been the big thing lately is just our unnecessary turnovers. And I feel like some of our defensemen, not all of them, but some of our defensemen aren't the best at puck handling.
Mm-hmm.
At the blue line and stuff too, and it, bounce over their stick or they just like lose track of it and then it goes the other way. I think if they can get that cleaned up, then you're going to see a huge difference.
Yeah. It just seems to be happening lately in opportune times.
Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely.
A lot of
Um,
shorthanded goals we've given up lately.
yeah, I don't, and again, that attests to the losing track of the puck and
Yeah.
just turning it over like that. But again, if we can clean that up, I think everybody will see a huge difference.
Yeah, I think so too.
Um, same person asked us, "What's our ideal playoff matchup by round along our inevitable march to the Memorial Cup glory?"
Love it.
Uh, Ideally, I'd like to get that first seed and then be guaranteed home ice throughout the entire playoffs.
That would be nice.
Uh, but so if I'm going to go based off of that, I would love to, I think playing, I don't know if I'd want to play Seattle first round personally, but playing a Wenatchee, I think I'd like our chances of the series against Wenatchee.
Me too.
Um, Even if Kamloops sneaks in, I think I like our chances against Kamloops too.
Mm-hmm.
But that's kind of what I would say.
I would want those to start if we had a choice. Yeah.
And then somebody said, if we don't catch Everett, who would we like to see in the first round between Tri City, Portland, or Vancouver?
Hmm. Well, I would take Tri or Vancouver, and
Yeah,
I say that as a fan who Just tired of Portland always being good and us them being in nemesis. I understand we won the season series this year against them based on the game last night too, but Portland just has always seemed to be a thorn in our sides.
Yeah,
They just have a very winning hockey tradition down there. I would take either Tri Cities or Vancouver at this point.
for sure. I think I would say Tri-City as well. I mean, there's nothing that I would love more than to kick Portland's ass in a playoff series
Mm-hmm.
again. But yeah, I agree. I think I'd like to play Tri-City for
Yeah.
sure, first round at least. That's kind of my ideal obviously worst case scenario and
Mm-hmm.
not catching Everett. I think that's the team that I would pick. And I'm just while I'm on the subject here of Portland, I want to call out some asshole down there that made a tweet yesterday during the game. Said posted a picture of Weinstein talking to the ref and said biggest whiner on Spokane might be a toss up between Cowan and Weinstein. Weinstein bitching at the refs all game, even got himself a misconduct because of it. And so I just responded and I said, Portland fans' tears are so good because I love seeing those pussies cry. And I don't like to get too vulgar on this podcast, but Portland fans fire me up.
Yes, they do.
So he said, enjoy this season because y'all are selling the farm for a run. And I said, please continue. This is so good. Nothing more ironic than people whining about teenagers whining, especially as a Portland fan.
Yes.
You guys are the biggest whining bitches out there.
And since when is Cowan considered a whiner?
I don't know. He's the most quiet guy on the team.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he meant Jared Cowan when he played for us.
Well, and also, Cowan wasn't even playing in net last night,
I know.
dumbass.
Yeah, and
Like,
Essner doesn't whine either. So yeah.
yeah. Um, he just responded to me about a half an hour ago and said, "What's ironic? Your boy got a misconduct after whining to the rest. I guess I'm not understanding the irony." And I'm just gonna say, dude, it's just you guys are the biggest bitches. I don't
Yeah.
care. I have no filter when it comes to Portland cheaters. Um, last question I have on here. What do we need to do to get a damn goal horn? I don't know, but I wish we could figure that out.
Can we order one off of Timu and have it sent to the Chiefs office?
Yeah. I mean, maybe we should. I feel like the arena would be fine with it. You know,
You, you know,
it,
they used to send a survey out at the end of the year to season ticket holders and ask about their experience and things that they would like to see, things they didn't like and stuff too. I wish they still did that.
do they not do that anymore?
I have not gotten one of those in a long time.
Hmm. Maybe you should bring that up to Jay this year.
I will. Maybe I will.
I
I'll
think you
play.
should.
I'll play one over the intercom right in the middle of his backswing and say, "Jay, need to take this down to the arena."
We got a couple things that we need to talk to Jay about this summer.
Yes, we do.
That Sweet Caroline,
It's gotta go.
the overall music choice.
I feel like that's why we didn't come back on Saturday night.
Yeah.
Oh no, wait a minute. It was Friday night. We were hanging on the lead. Never mind. Saturday night we were in Tri Cities. Never mind. I
Yeah.
take it all back because when he played it on Friday night, I said, "Oh my God, we're gonna lose now."
I know. I was a little bit terrified by that too, not gonna lie.
Yeah.
So that's all I have. Do we want to tell them kind of what we're planning
Yeah.
on doing here in
I
the
think
next?
I think you should, based on what you saw another team do.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of NHL teams doing this year with it being 2025 quarter century. And I saw a WHL team, Regina's podcast was doing it last week, and thought it'd be a good idea to put together like a Spokane Chiefs quarter century team. So just like best overall players, do four lines of forwards and then three lines of D-men, two goalies from the year 2000 up until now. Um, we're still kind of working on narrowing down our list officially, and then I gotta find a way to get like a lineup card thing that
Mm-hmm.
I can do. But I feel like that probably won't be too difficult. But
No, I don't think so.
um, I think we have the players that we're gonna pick from,
Mm-hmm.
forward, defensively, and goaltending. We already kind of have our goaltending set in stone. Should we reveal that?
Yeah, let's review the goalies for give
All
people
right,
a little taste. Why not?
go for it.
Well, should we give our backup first?
Back up first.
Our backup first. Dawson Cowan. I think he's very deserving of being on that quarter century club with the numbers he's put up since he's been a Spokane Chief. and obviously this year being exceptional. But not just that, the numbers he put up on some couple of pretty lean years for the Chiefs as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
I
and
think
then
that's
not
the solid overall pick for sure.
yeah, and I'll let you reveal the number one goalie in the last quarter century. And
Well,
I think it's a no brainer.
I think it's pretty obvious. The guy that backstopped us to the Memorial Cup in 2008, Dustin
Yeah,
Tokarski, still playing professionally, still playing between the AHL and the NHL this season,
yeah,
still having a hell of a career, and he had a hell of a career for the Chiefs.
yeah. Agreed. Agreed.
And I don't, I like I said, I think that's a no-brainer. I mean, there's a couple goalies to pick from that I think we had written down.
Mm-hmm.
Barry Bruss, Jim Watt, James Reed. But I think without a doubt, I think Tokarski's got it. He takes the throne, and then Callan's right there behind him too.
Yeah, I agree.
So yeah, I like that. But yeah, I guess I think we'll probably be able to get that done by next week, and we
I think
can
so.
reveal it all next week. But that's just something fun that I think we can do. Um, so if any of the listeners want to kind of write out their quarter century team for the Chiefs, in the comments, or you can message me on Facebook or whatever too.
Yeah,
Be cool to see those too.
yeah, agreed.
So yeah, that's another little fun thing that we're working on, and getting ready to head into the last month of the regular season here. I think we got 10 games left
Isn't that what it
after
is?
yesterday. Yeah, I think we're sitting at 58 right now too. So
Nice.
yeah, we were talking earlier. We got Vancouver here Wednesday, Wenatchee here Friday, and Seattle here Saturday. So another big week of home games for the Chiefs, and 6 potential points that we could use to catch up on Everett.
That'd be nice.
Everett does not play Wednesday night. So if
Nice.
we pick up 2 points Wednesday, we'll be five back.
That'd be
So
awesome.
and I will say we also do still have 2 games against the Silver Tips as well.
That's right. Yeah,
So those will be probably huge games in a
they could
potential
be.
Western
Yeah.
Conference final preview.
Yeah, let's hope they matter.
Yeah, definitely. And I hopefully the team kind of comes out and plays that full 60.
Yeah, we'll cross our fingers for that.
Oh shit. All right. I think I'm good.
All right, another good podcast, my man.
By the way, shout out to the hat.
Yeah, for those that don't know,
Yeah. The old WHL memes.
we wore them to the game the other night. Nobody said anything, so I hope that means that nobody has any ill feelings.
Yeah, I don't think anybody remembers Facebook
Probably not.
pages from 15 years ago, but
People can't remember what they did yesterday.
yeah, I don't remember what I did
Myself
yesterday.
and
So
myself included.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
So
All right,
alrighty.
go Chiefs, go.
Go Chiefs go.